What if I told you there's a way to never feel powerless again? To walk through life unshaken, no matter what happens around you? It's not about religion or magic. It's about realizing something ancient, something you've always had, but never used. And if you ignore this, you'll keep feeling like life happens to you, not for you. Most people live reactively. Something bad happens, they panic, someone insults them, they crumble. But there's another way. Imagine acting as if every moment, every challenge, is guided by an unshakable force within you. Not luck, not chance, you. This isn't about ego. It's about recognizing the strength you already have. Let's talk about how the illusion of control and why it fails you. You wake up late, the coffee spills, traffic is a nightmare, your boss sends a passive-aggressive email, the news reports another crisis. By noon, you're already exhausted, frustrated, wondering why the universe seems to hate you. But here's the truth. The universe doesn't care. It's not personal. The problem isn't what's happening, it's where you've placed your focus. Most of us spend our days like sailors screaming at the wind. We clench our fists at red lights, rehearse arguments in the shower, obsess over things we can't change. We think if we worry enough, we'll somehow control the outcome. But worry is just imagination wasted. It's the mind's way of pretending it has power over the uncontrollable, and the more we chase that illusion, the smaller we feel. There's an old story about a farmer. His horse runs away. His neighbor says, "What bad luck?" The farmer replies, "Maybe." The next day the horse returns with 3 wild horses. The neighbor says, "What good luck?" The farmer says, "Maybe." Later the farmer's son tries to ride one of the wild horses and breaks his leg. The neighbor groans, "What bad luck?" The farmer shrugs, "Maybe." Soon after, soldiers come to draft young men for war, but the son's broken leg saves him. The neighbor is amazed. The farmer just smiles. The lesson isn't about luck, it's about perspective. The farmer didn't waste energy labeling things good or bad. He didn't celebrate or despair. He simply observed. He adjusted. That's real control, not over the world, but over your own mind. So how do you practice this? Start small. Next time you're stuck in traffic, notice the tension in your hands on the wheel. Breathe. Ask yourself, is my anger moving this car? Then laugh. That laugh is your first act of true power. You've just taken back control, not of the traffic, but of you. Or when someone insults you, your first reaction might be to fire back, to prove them wrong. But pause. Ask, what would happen if I didn't react at all? Watch the insult like a leaf floating past on a river. It's not yours to carry. The moment you stop needing to defend yourself, you become unbreakable. This isn't passivity, it's strategy. Think of a martial artist. They don't resist their opponent's force. They redirect it. Your coworker's rude comment, redirect it. Don't absorb it. The delayed flight, redirect it. Use the time to read, to think, to rest. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize the only thing you ever needed to control was your attention. And here's the secret no one tells you. When you stop fighting the wind, you start feeling its direction. You begin to see patterns. How certain thoughts lead to certain emotions. How certain reactions lead to certain results. That's when you become the farmer. That's when you say, make the mirror test. Who do you see? You stand in front of the mirror every day. You fix your hair, check your face, maybe criticize a flaw. But have you ever really looked at who's looking back? Not the face, the being behind it. Most people see a collection of accidents, a product of their parents, their past, their mistakes. They say, I'm like this because of what happened to me. And so they stay small, waiting for the world to apologize, to change, to give them permission to be happy. But what if you saw something else? Imagine looking into the mirror and seeing a force, not a god in the religious sense, but something unshakable, a presence that doesn't flinch at chaos. How would that change the way you walk into a room? How would it change the way you handle loss? Here's a practice. Next time you're stressed, pause, close your eyes, picture your reflection, but not as you normally see it. See it as the strongest, calmest version of yourself. Notice the posture, the gaze, the quiet certainty. Now ask, what would this version of me do right now? You'll often find the answer isn't dramatic. It's simple. Breathe, wait, speak softly, walk away. The strongest actions are usually the quietest. This isn't about pretending, it's about remembering. You've had moments in your life, maybe just flashes, where you were that person. Maybe in a crisis, when you surprised yourself with your own calm. Maybe when you forgave someone and felt lighter than expected. Those weren't flukes, they were glimpses of your real nature. The more you practice this, the more the mirror becomes a tool. You'll start to catch your reflection in windows, in phone screens, and instead of judging your appearance, you'll check your energy. Am I aligned right now? And if not, you'll adjust. This is why ancient traditions speak of the divine within, not because we're gods, but because we're capable of godlike strength, if we choose to act from it. So tonight, try this. Before bed, stand in front of the mirror. Don't look at your skin, your wrinkles, your scars. Look through them. See the you that doesn't age, the you that's always been there, even when you forgot. Then ask, what's one thing I'll do tomorrow as this version of myself? The answer might surprise you. It's usually something small, but profound. Call a parent and really listen. Donate something you've been hoarding. Sit in silence for 5 minutes instead of reaching for your phone. That's how you build this, not through grand gestures, but through daily choices. And one day you'll realize, the person in the mirror isn't someone you're trying to become. It's who you've always been. The 3-second rule for instant calm. There's a space between what happens to you and how you react. Most people never notice it. They get cut off in traffic. Rage explodes instantly. Someone criticizes them. Their stomach tightens before they even the reaction isn't a choice. It's a reflex, like a knee jerking when tapped. But what if you could stretch that moment? What if, instead of being a prisoner to your first impulse, you could pause just long enough to decide who you want to be in that situation? That's what the 3-second rule is for. It's not complicated. When something triggers you, anger, fear, insecurity, you stop. Not for an hour, not even for a minute, just 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And in that tiny window, you ask one question: what would someone with unshakable inner power do right now? Not what you want to do, not what your emotions are screaming at you to do, but what the strongest, calmest version of yourself would choose. At first, this feels unnatural. Your mind will resist. It will say, this is stupid, just yell, just back, just give in. That's because your brain is wired for survival, not wisdom. Survival reacts, wisdom responds, and the only way to rewire it is through repetition. So you practice. Your boss sends a frustrating email. Instead of firing back, you take 3 seconds, breathe, ask the question. Maybe the answer is, wait an hour before replying. Maybe it's, ask for clarification instead of assuming malice. The action doesn't matter as much as the pause. That pause is the birthplace of real power. Or someone insults you, the old you would snap back, or shrink, or spend the next 3 hours replaying the moment. But now, you pause 3 seconds, and in that space, you realize something. The insult only has power if you give it power. So you don't. You let it pass like a cloud. You might even smile, not because you're weak, but because you're free. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about not letting them drive. Imagine your emotions are like a wild horse. If you jump on its back with no reins, it will throw you. But if you take 3 seconds to steady yourself, to grip the reins, suddenly you're in control. The horse still has power, but now it's directed. Now it serves you. The more you do this, the more you'll notice something strange. The pause starts to stretch on its own. 3 seconds becomes 5, 5 becomes 10, and eventually you don't even need to count. The space is just there, like a buffer between you and the world. That's when people will start saying things like, how are you so calm all the time? And you'll want to laugh, because you know the truth. You're not calm by nature, you're calm by choice. 3-second pause at a time. Why most people never tap into this power. There's a reason so many people live their entire lives feeling powerless. It's not because they lack strength. It's not because they're unlucky or cursed. It's because they misunderstand one simple idea: acting as if. They think it means faking, pretending to be happy when they're sad, pretending to be confident when they're scared. And who wants to live like that? A mask over their true feelings, a performance for the world. No wonder they reject it. But that's not what acting as if really is. Faking is lying to others and yourself. Acting as if is something entirely different. It's choosing on purpose to embody the version of yourself that you know deep down you're capable of being. Here's the difference. Imagine you have to give a speech. You're nervous, your hands shake, your stomach churns. The fake approach: paste on a smile, force a loud voice, and hope no one notices your fear. That's exhausting, and it doesn't work. People sense the tension. The acting as if approach: you don't deny the fear, you acknowledge it, but then you ask, how would I stand if I were completely confident right now? Maybe it's shoulders back, feet planted, slow breaths. So you do that, not to trick anyone, but because that posture is available to you right now. You don't have to feel confident to stand confident. And here's the secret. Your mind follows your body. When you stand like someone who's unshaken, your brain starts to believe it. The fear doesn't disappear, but it stops controlling you. Most people never try this because they're waiting for the feeling before the action. Once I feel brave, I'll act brave. But it doesn't work that way. Action comes first. Feeling follows. This is why so many stay stuck. They think power is something they have to earn, something that comes after years of struggle. But real power is a decision. It's putting on the cape before you feel like a hero. Try it today. Pick one small situation where you normally feel insecure. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it's setting a boundary with a friend. Before you act, pause. Ask, how would the strongest version of me handle this? Then do that thing, not as a performance, but as an experiment. You'll be amazed at what happens. Not because the world changes, but because you do. The Stoic secret to handling betrayal. The knife comes when you least expect it. A friend who suddenly turns cold, a partner who walks away without explanation, a colleague who takes credit for your work. The pain is real, sharp, immediate. Your first thought, how could they? Your second thought, I'll make them pay. This is the natural reaction, the human reaction, but there is another way. Imagine for a moment that this betrayal wasn't an attack, but an invitation, not from the person who hurt you, but from life itself. What if this pain was sent to show you something? Not about them, but about you, about what you're truly made of. The ancient teachers understood this. They saw betrayal not as something to be avenged, but as the ultimate training ground. When someone strikes you, they give you two gifts: the chance to practice forgiveness and the opportunity to discover just how unbreakable you can be. This doesn't mean pretending it doesn't hurt. That's denial. It means feeling the pain fully, then asking, what does this moment require of me? Not what do I want to do? That's the child's response. But what would my highest self do? The answer is never revenge. Revenge is just another form of slavery, chaining yourself to the person who hurt you. True freedom comes when you realize their actions say everything about them and nothing about you. Here's how to practice this. Next time betrayal cuts deep, pause, breathe. See the situation as if you're watching a play. The other person is simply acting according to their nature. Just as a scorpion stings or a snake bites, they couldn't have acted differently, because at that moment, that's who they were. Now ask yourself, what lesson is hidden here? Maybe it's teaching you to trust more wisely. Maybe it's showing you where you've been giving your power away. Maybe it's simply revealing how strong you really are when tested. The person who hurt you may never apologize. They may never understand what they've done. But that's not your concern. Your concern is this: will you let this moment make you bitter or better? Will you use this pain as fuel for growth or as an excuse to shrink? This is the secret the great teachers knew. The people who hurt us are our greatest instructors. They show us where we're still attached, where we're still weak, where we still seek validation from outside rather than finding it within. So when betrayal comes, and it will, don't waste time plotting revenge. That only gives the hurt more power over you. Instead, do something revolutionary. Thank them, not out loud, but in your heart. Thank them for showing you where you still needed to grow. Then grow. That's how you turn poison into medicine. That's how you transform victims into warriors. Not by fighting back, but by rising above. Not by returning the blow, but by becoming someone who cannot be wounded in the same way again. The final stage, when you can think of them and feel nothing. No anger, no pain, just observation. That's when you'll know you're free. That's when you'll understand. They were never your enemy. They were your teacher all along. How to speak like you're never afraid. Words are spells. Every sentence you utter is either a prison or a key. Say, I can't, often enough, and you'll believe it. Say, I'll find a way, consistently, and the universe will rearrange itself to make it true. Most people don't realize they're in a constant conversation with themselves, one that shapes their reality more powerfully than any external force. The way you speak about your life isn't just describing your experience, it's creating it. Think of your mind as fertile soil. Every word is a seed. Plant, I'm so unlucky, and watch misfortune grow. Plant, challenges make me stronger, and witness resilience blossom. This isn't positive thinking, it's linguistic alchemy. Start noticing your habitual phrases, the offhand comments you make about yourself and your life. I'm terrible at this. Nothing ever works out for me. I always mess up. These aren't just words, they're programming, and like any program, they determine your output. The shift begins with awareness. For one day, carry a notebook. Write down every negative or limiting thing you say about yourself or your situation. Don't judge, just observe. You'll likely be shocked at how often you reinforce your own limitations through speech. Then begin the rewiring. For every negative phrase, create an antidote. I'm so stressed becomes I'm navigating challenges with calm. This always happens to me becomes I'm learning to respond differently. I can't handle this becomes I'm discovering my capacity. This isn't about lying to yourself. If you're terrified, don't say I'm fearless. That creates inner conflict. Instead say, I feel fear, and I'm moving forward anyway. That's authentic power. Your voice has physical power too. Notice how you speak when afraid. Quick, shallow, high-pitched. Now recall how you speak when confident. Slower, deeper, from the diaphragm. One triggers stress hormones, the other triggers strength. Practice this. Each morning, stand tall, breathe deep into your belly. Speak one sentence aloud, in your most powerful voice. Today, I meet whatever comes with calm and clarity. Feel the vibration in your chest. That's not just sound, that's programming your nervous system for strength. The people around you will notice the change before you do. They'll say, you seem different, more grounded. What they're sensing is the alignment between your words and your presence. This is how warriors speak, not with bravado, but with quiet certainty, not denying difficulty, but affirming their ability to meet. Their words don't describe reality, they shape it. So begin today. Before speaking, pause, ask, is this sentence building my power or weakening it? Then choose accordingly, word by word. You're not just changing how you speak, you're changing who you are. The ultimate test. When someone asks how you are, resist the automatic fine or hanging in there. Instead say, I'm growing. Just those two words, spoken with conviction, can shift your entire day. Language created the Tower of Babel. Language writes laws and declares love. It's the most powerful tool you possess. Wield it consciously and watch your world transform. The nighttime ritual that changes everything. The day ends, you lie in bed, the mind begins its familiar dance, replaying conversations, regretting mistakes, worrying about tomorrow. This is how most people spend their final waking moments, lost in thought, carried away by the current of mental chatter. But there is another way, a simple practice that takes just minutes, yet transforms how you meet each new day. It begins with stillness. Before sleep claims you, sit upright for just 5 minutes, let the day settle like sand in water. Then ask yourself 2 questions, not with judgment, but with the curiosity of a scientist observing an experiment. Where today did I act from fear? Where could I have acted from power? This isn't about guilt. Guilt looks backward with clenched fists. This is about awareness, which looks forward with open hands. When you identify a moment where fear drove you, perhaps you avoided a difficult conversation, or said yes when you meant no, don't scold yourself, simply note it. Ah, there was fear. That recognition alone begins to weaken its hold. Then consider, how might you have acted differently? Not to imagine perfect scenarios, but to plant seeds for tomorrow. Maybe instead of reacting angrily to a provocation, you could have paused. Maybe instead of shrinking from an opportunity, you could have taken one small step. The magic of this practice lies in its repetition. Night after night, you train your mind to spot the difference between fear's whisper and wisdom's voice. At first, you'll notice these things only in hindsight. Then gradually, you'll catch yourself in the moment. Finally, you'll begin to sense the choice before you act at all. This ritual works because it leverages sleep, the mind's natural reset period. When you plant these questions before bed, your subconscious continues working on them. You'll often wake with insights, as if your deeper self has been sorting through the day's events while you rested. Some nights, the answers will surprise you. You may realize that what seemed like a courageous act was actually fear in disguise. People-pleasing, performing, proving yourself. Other nights you'll discover quiet moments of true strength you hadn't noticed at the time. A deep breath taken, a harsh word not spoken. Keep a notebook by your bed, not to document every detail, but to track patterns. Over weeks, you'll see your personal fear signatures emerge. The situations that consistently trigger you, the stories you tell yourself to justify smallness. This knowledge is power. The final step is crucial. End with gratitude. Not forced positivity, but genuine recognition of one thing, however small, that supported your growth that day. Maybe it's the friend who listened, the stranger who smiled, the part of you that kept going when you wanted to quit. Then sleep, let go completely. Trust that this daily audit is rewiring you, not through force, but through gentle, consistent awareness. You'll know it's working when you start sensing the pivot point during the day itself, that split second where you can choose fear or power. At first you'll still sometimes choose fear, but you'll know you're choosing it. Then, more and more, you'll find yourself choosing power, almost without thought. That's when you realize transformation wasn't something you had to force, it was something you allowed, simply by paying attention. When the world feels heavy, do this. There are days when everything presses down, the news weighs heavy, responsibilities pile up, the future seems uncertain. In these moments, most people do one of 2 things. They numb out, scrolling, snacking, distracting, or they spiral into worry. But there is a third way. Find a quiet space, sit, close your eyes, place one hand on your chest, over your heart, breathe deeply, slowly. With each inhale, imagine light gathering in your center. With each exhale, imagine it spreading through your body. This light isn't something you create, it's something you remember. The part of you that existed before your fears, before your stories, before the world told you who to be. Call it presence, call it awareness, call it your true nature. The name doesn't matter, what matters is feeling it. Now ask, silently, what would the strongest version of me do right now? Then wait, don't force an answer, let it arise. Sometimes the answer will be action. Get up, make the call, start the project. Other times it will be surrender. Rest, wait, trust. The key is that this guidance comes not from panic or perfectionism, but from that unshakable center, you'll recognize true inner guidance by its quality. Fear shouts, wisdom whispers. Fear demands immediate certainty. Wisdom is comfortable with not knowing. Fear isolates. Wisdom connects. When the world feels particularly heavy, add this physical practice. Stand barefoot on the ground if possible. Feel the earth supporting you. Imagine roots extending from your feet, anchoring you deep into the planet's core. Breathe into your belly. Now the heaviness isn't pressing you down. You're drawing strength up. This isn't escapism. It's the opposite. Full presence. Most people avoid their feelings through distraction. This practice allows you to meet them without being overwhelmed. The weight doesn't disappear, but you become strong enough to bear it. Carry this light with you. When faced with decisions, pause and check. Is this choice coming from fear or from that centered place? The more you practice, the clearer the difference becomes. Eventually, you'll notice something remarkable. The world hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has. What once would have crushed you now becomes workable. Not because circumstances are different, but because you are. This is the secret the great teachers never tired of repeating. The peace you seek isn't out there, it's in here. Not someday, now. In this breath, in this light, always available, if you remember where to look. The heaviness may return, that's life. But now you know the way back. Not by fleeing the world, but by sinking deeper into yourself. One breath, one moment, one choice at a time. The one lie that keeps you weak. There is a story we tell ourselves that sounds so reasonable, so logical, that we never think to question it. The story goes like this: when I have more money, then I'll feel secure. When I lose weight, then I'll feel confident. When the right person loves me, then I'll feel worthy. When circumstances change, then I'll change. This is the great deception, the trap that keeps millions of people waiting at the starting line of their own life. Because here's the truth, they never teach you. You don't become strong by waiting for strength. You become strong by acting strong before you feel it. Think of a time you felt truly powerful. Maybe it was when you stood up for someone. Maybe it was when you pushed through fear to do something difficult. In that moment, did you wait until you felt courageous before acting, or did the courage come because you acted first? This is the secret the wisest teachers understood. Action precedes feeling, not the other way around. You don't pray for strength and then receive it like a package. You demonstrate strength, and in that demonstration, strength reveals itself to have been there all along. The lie keeps us weak because it makes our power conditional. I'll be kind when people are kind to me first. I'll work hard when I get the promotion. I'll start living when things calm down. But life doesn't work that way. The conditions are never perfect. The permission never comes. There's a simple way to break this pattern. Whenever you catch yourself saying, I'll, when, stop, reverse it. I'll act this way now, and let the feelings follow. Want to feel like a writer? Right now. Don't wait for inspiration. Want to feel confident? Stand like a confident person stands now. Don't wait until you earn it. Want to feel peaceful? Breathe like a peaceful person. Breathe now. Don't wait for your problems to disappear. This isn't pretending, it's practicing. Like a musician doesn't wait to feel like playing before picking up their instrument. You don't wait to feel powerful before embodying power. The feeling comes through the doing. People misunderstand this as fake it till you make it, but that implies you're being inauthentic. What you're really doing is uncovering what's already true but buried under layers of doubt and conditioning. The strongest version of you isn't something to create, it's something to reveal. Start small today. Pick one area where you've been waiting for conditions to change. Then act as if they already have. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready. Now. Because readiness doesn't precede action, it follows it. The moment you stop waiting is the moment your life begins. How to know it's working? Transformation is subtle at first, like the gradual lightening of the sky before dawn. You might not notice it happening until suddenly, you can see clearly. The first signs aren't dramatic. You'll be mid-sentence in a complaint about traffic or weather, or some daily annoyance, when something inside you pauses. Why am I saying this? The complaint dies on your lips. This isn't forced positivity. It's a natural disinterest in feeding negativity. You'll catch yourself reaching for your phone to distract from discomfort, and put it down. Not because you should, but because you'd rather be present with whatever you're feeling. People around you might comment, "You seem different." They won't always be able to pinpoint why. It's not that you're talking more or less, smiling more or forcing cheer. It's something in your present, a quiet steadiness where there used to be restless energy. Your old triggers will still come, the rude comment, the unexpected obstacle, but there's a new space between stimulus and response, where once you would have reacted immediately. Now there's breath, a moment to choose. You'll notice your relationship to time changing. Less "I'll be happy when," and more "How can I meet this moment fully?" The future still matters, but it no longer steals the present from you. Physical signs appear too. You might stand differently without realizing it. Shoulders relaxed, rather than hunched forward in perpetual defense. Your breathing becomes deeper, slower, as if your body remembers its natural rhythm. There will be days you forget all this and fall back into old patterns. But now you notice the shift back faster. Recovery time shortens. What once would have ruined your day now passes, like a summer storm, intense but brief. The most telling sign, you stop looking for signs. The constant self-evaluation.